All right, guys, the gasket we're looking for is right down here. It's in there. Trust me, it's in there. Let's get down to it before we even talk about that. The first thing we do, let's remove this shield right here. You want to grab yourself a pair of needle nose pliers or a pair of wire cutters right here, and you got 4 clips. Just don't cut them. Just squeeze it together just a little bit, and pick that center right up. The whole clip's gonna come out of there. Okay, you're gonna have 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's get those 4 out, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, got the 4 clips out. That's all you do is pick this up, and it's gonna stick into around this tube right here. So just pull it out just like that, and you're gonna set this down to the side. Now, what we're gonna do now is called the party line. Which means that when you're taking apart a job that you're not too familiar with, what you want to do is every time you take off a part, in order, you put that down in the line along with the clips, and when I take off the next part, I'm going to put it right here, and I'm going to keep on, continue on. That's called the party line. And then when I go to put things back together, I start from the other end and work my way back. That's why there's no loose bolts, no parts missing and everything. Everything is good. Yeah, buddy. Let's get back to it. All right. Now we can see it a little bit. Yeah. Now we can see the oil filter housing a little bit better, but just a little bit better. That thing is still in there. Man, that's gonna suck. Now, the next thing we're gonna do to make this easier for us is remove our air cleaner assembly, the whole assembly. You got your mass airflow sensor right here. That's all you want to do is take this clip, push that clip down, unplug it. All right, the next thing you want to do, this whole thing is held in by some 10mm bolts. You got one right here and one right here. So let me just put this on the side. And what I'm gonna do is get my cordless drill with my socket adapter hooked onto it, what I got from Harbor Freight. And I got a 3/8 drive 10mm socket. I'm gonna go in here, take off 1. Take off 2. Both bolts are the same length, so you don't have to worry about that. Let's wiggle this around. Look at that. Everything is ready to come off. Now we still got a tube down here. This wire right here. Let's unhook that from the clip right here. And you got your tube right here. Now we can disconnect it from here. No. We want to go down here and disconnect it from here. So we're going to get us a flat screwdriver and loosen that clamp up. Be right back. Alright guys, got our flat screwdriver. We're going to loosen up this clamp right here. We'll make sure it's nice and loose. Alright. Then we're going to work that thing off of there. Yeah, figures this thing going to... There we go. Pulled it right out of there, just like that. Let's take our whole cleaner. And let's put this to the side of the party line. We'll be right back. All right, guys, we got the at an angle here, so we don't want you to see the plate. The next thing we'll do is open up the back hatch. And then we want to open up this tailgate part right here. I'm going to block the plate right here. And to open this plate up right here, you got this little area right here. Just push down on it. It's going to open right up. Now, you got a latch right here. Pick the latch up. Pick this panel up. And this is supposed to be able to hold on to something. There we go. Because our battery is down there. Oops. Yeah, they should have this thing a better hookup or something. What the heck? Alright, so we're going to have to take the tire out to get down to the battery. So we're going to pick that up and we'll be right back. Okay, got it. Alright guys, now we got the battery out here. We got to disconnect the negative terminal. But before we get to the negative terminal, yeah, they didn't make this easy at all. We got to remove this housing right here. And we got about 4 12mm, looks like 10mm bolts. So let's get this off and get down to that battery. We'll be right back. Alright guys, got my 10mm 3/8 drive, shallow socket. Let's go over here. Take off these 4 10mm bolts.
So if you have to remove the battery, you're going to do all this?
This is exactly what you got to do. All right, we just want to set this back to the side, and there it is. There's our negative terminal. And now to loosen this up, that's all we have to do is just loosen this nut up right there, and the terminal is going to come loose. Now this is very important, guys. You want to make sure you just don't disconnect it and put it to the side. What you want to do is disconnect it. Now, so you don't want to leave it like that, because there's a good chance that it might just come back and touch that, and while you got that alternator out, you will short something out. So what you want to do is make sure you tuck that down, so in that way it is out of the way. Everything is looking good. Let's go up to the front. We'll be right back. All right, guys, now we need to remove our serpentine belt. Now your car might have this little plastic cover on the belt right here. So what you gotta do is take a flat screw. On the pulley, I mean. Now you gotta take a flat screwdriver and you gotta just get in there and get that and pop that off. So it ain't gonna be, it ain't too easy. I can get down there and see it. And maybe, guys, maybe get a smaller screwdriver or something, or a pick. You can see I'm moving. There it is, popped off. That is great. Done. All right, we'll get that off. Now, inside here, you're gonna see it. They're gonna fill a bolt. That's the bolt we're gonna use to take the tension off of this belt. All right, we'll be right back. All right, guys. Now we got that cover off right there. Now I'm gonna put a mirror down there, and in the center of that pulley, you'll see an Allen. Try to twist this. You see that? You see that Allen bolt right there? That's an 8mm Allen. That's going to be your adjustment to get this belt off. Okay. So let's take this out of here. Now what I'm going to be using is an 8mm hex socket, 3/8 drive ratchet, and you're going to put it on like you're tightening. And you need this one is a telescopic one. It can be a short one, or I'll pull this back and it goes to a long one. You need something long to get down there. Okay, and what we're gonna do here is reach down there like this. And it's gonna take a minute. Just get that bolt lined up. Dang it, now you wanna act stupid. Get that in there. Now, if you're having problems like me right now, what you're going to do is just take it, turn it just a little bit. Okay, we're in there. You want to make sure that it's all the way in there. Now, what I'm going to do here, let's set this light right here, and you're going to go tightening. See that? You want to make sure you get enough pop. Now, if you want, you can remove this hose and all that, but then you're going to have to be draining the antifreeze and all that, and so you don't want to do that. So, right now I'm hitting up against the hose. So what I'm going to do is bring my ratchet down so I can get more of a swing. And now I'm going to go tighten it and watch the belt loosen up. Okay, the belt's loosened up. Pull it off of the idle pulley right here, and then release it back. Get our socket out of there. The belt is off. We'll be right back with the next step. All right, guys, the next thing we'll do is loosen up the bolts to our power steering reservoir. And if you look down there, we got two 13mm bolts, one right there and one right there. So what I'm going to be using is a 13mm shallow socket 3/8 drive with a 6-inch 3/8 drive extension. Go ahead over here, and you're going to take both of those bolts out of there. All right, let's get those bolts out, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, we got our two bolts out. Let's put our reservoir to the side just for now. And let's put our bolts back in there so you know exactly where they go. One right there, one right there. The next thing you want to do is just grab you a 5/8 wrench or a 16 millimeter, because this bolt right here, the top, we're going to be removing the alternator now. And you got one bolt right here, and this goes through this pulley and it goes on to the alternator. So I'm going to be backing that up. So what I'm going to be using is a 5/8 speed wrench. I'm going to get in there like that. Take that bolt completely out. Alright, let's get that out. We'll be right back. Alright guys, we got the bolt out. Now this bolt is pretty long, so you're going to have to move the fan blades to back that bolt all the way out under there, and then take the pulley out. Now look at this pulley right here that you're taking off. There's a little stud sticking out of there, right there. That's going to be an alignment stud, and make sure we align that back up when you put that back onto the alternator. Let me get a light and show you. You can see right on the alternator, there's a little indentation right there.
The hose is away. Okay.
There's a little indentation right there where you got to make sure that's lined back up when you put it back into place. All right, that's done. Let's move on to the next step. We'll be right back.
Move your finger.
Oh, excuse me. What the
Okay.
heck, man? All right, guys. The next thing we're gonna do, continuing on getting this alternator out of here. Now we got a little couple. You're gonna have a couple of holes right here. This is a little water pump right here, actually. And what we're gonna do is get this out of the way. It's going to this bracket right here, up to this 10 millimeter bolt. Let's get that off of there. And that's just gonna be enough so we can swing all that to the side. Dang it, there's another one. Dang it, there's another one up under here. Oh, okay, trying to see how this bottom one looks like. It just held in by some clips on the bottom half up there. Okay, let's go and get us a screwdriver. First of all, let's put this bolt back in here for now, so we don't lose that. And what we're gonna move on to is the bottom bolt on the alternator. Now, let me see if I can get something to point to it. You look down there. See that bolt right there? Mm-hmm. Okay, there, guys, it's a 16 millimeter bolt. That's the other bolt to that alternator, which we gotta take off. So what I'm gonna use here is I'm using a 5/8 3/8 drive deep socket. You can use a 16 millimeter. And what I'm gonna be using is my big bill ratchet. Yeah, boy. Let's get that bolt there to see if I got enough room. Because you don't have enough room to get between that bolt and the fan. So you gotta be very careful. Make sure you got just enough room. As you can see that, I got just enough room to get in there. Where is it? There it is. Still might not have enough. You know, guys, let's get us a. You know what? I'm gonna use my ratchet, my telescoping ratchet. Let's get that in there and loosen that up. There we go. It's a little time consuming, but there it is. Now once it's loose, I should be able to reach down there with just the socket in my hand. Damn, where is it? Where the heck is it?
You want me?
Huh?
No, you want.
Which way am I going?
Think down a little bit.
Oh, let me think. It's so tight. I can't see. Alright, now I'm on it. So I'm gonna go in here. I'm on to it now. I'm gonna reach my hand in here and take this bolt out of here. All right, we'll be right back. All right, guys, we got this bolt out.
Do we?
Yeah, I think so. Again, it's got to go around the fan blades, so make sure you don't hit the fan blades. Back it up. Pull the bolt right out of there. That's the next one. Whew. All right, let's get on to the next step. We'll be right back. All right, guys. Next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna remove 2 clips out here to get the bottom of this bracket. Now, what I'm gonna do is take this bolt out and put this back in here just for a second. Get me a long screwdriver. And can you see it on your good? What I'm gonna do is take my screwdriver and put that screwdriver right between there and twist it and see how the center comes out of it.
It's not the light, I just don't have a good angle. Okay, show us again.
I got the screwdriver right between.
Making it darker.
Got it?
Okay.
Screwdriver goes right between there, and you gotta pry that center part of the clip out. Once I got it out enough, take a pair of needle nose and get it out the rest of it. What do you mean, okay?
I got it. I understand how you do that.
Huh?
I understand how you do that. So you're just taking out the center part.
Right. Say that like just taking out the center part, like it's easy. All right, got the center part out.
Okay.
And then the rest of it will come right out. So let's get the other side. And
too close. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's get the other side out, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, we got both of those out. Now let's take my 10mm off again here. Put it down there, and now we got a little room extra. Now, if you want, what you can do is get some tie straps or something, and you can tie this over to the side somewhere out of your way. And it's going to be a good idea to move this down a little bit, because what we got to do now is go in the back of the alternator, and you got a clip right here. You push this connector. You push this tab, this little piece right here, towards the connector. Unplug the alternator, and now we're going to have, looks like about a 10mm nut right in the back of here. In fact, let me get this.
Okay.
Okay, actually looks like a 12mm nut right there. It's holding on, and that's the battery cable going right back to the battery. So it looks like about a 12mm. Dang it. Dang it. Alright, now, let me go get a magnet. Bear back.
Use your flashlight.
Alright, guys, got my 13mm shallow socket 3/8 drive, 3/8 drive ratchet. Let's go down here. And pop that loose. And you saw the whole alternator move because we do got both bolts out of the alternator already. Alright. And as soon as we get in there and get this nut out of there, put this to the side. Alright, we got the nut. Now let's take our battery cable, pull it off, pull that to the side, and so we don't lose the nut, let's put the nut right back on the alternator. Now we should be able to wiggle this alternator. Now on the bottom of this alternator, there's a tube, like an air tube down here, that we're going to have to take off too. And let me show you down here. Right down here, see this big tube right here? That's an air tube to cool off the alternator.
No.
Right where my finger is.
Okay.
Alright, you want to make sure there's no clamps on it or nothing. If no clamps on it, take your flat screwdriver there. And we're going to be getting that off of there. As you can see, it ain't too easy. It will come down. Let's see now, get this alternator. Go, and the alternator's out. Okay, we're gonna have to hold our and put our power steering pump over here. Let's see if we can walk this alternator out up this way. There it is. Yeah, buddy. All right, we got that out of the way. Let's put that down to on the party line, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, the next thing we're gonna do, we got two 13mm bolts that's holding up the power steering pump. You got one right there and one right over here up under that pulley. So I'm gonna be using a 13mm deep 3/8 drive with my 3/8 drive swivel head ratchet. And I like the swivel head ratchet because it can get in there and somewhat get in there. There we go. Okay. And this one over here. Alright, let's get those two bolts out and we'll be right back. Alright guys, we got those two 13mm bolts out. The next thing we got is one bolt way up under here. You got the back bracket of the power steering pump, and this bracket goes up, and there's a bolt right up under here, 13mm bolt. You can see up under there?
Yep.
That we gotta get out as well. And I got my 13mm with a regular 13mm ratchet. Let's get this bolt out of here and make sure this is the one. Okay. You can see the bolt coming out. Okay, there it is right there. Alright, now let's go up under here, go up over here, and let's take out our two long 13mm bolts. One, two. You see that? The power steering pump just dropped right down. That is great. Now while you're over that way, I want you to take a look at back here. We're gonna go inside here. Look at all that oil back there, guys. All right.
Are those bolts the same size?
Oh no, they're not. One bolt is longer than the other one. Dang it. So the short one is going to go on the inside, and the long one is going to go out here. So remember that.
What about the one in the back?
This one's just one, short one.
Short one?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, thanks for asking that question. All right, now first of all, you got a connector right here, oil pressure sender. You see in there?
Yeah.
Push that little clip towards the connector and push it back. To a connector, push it back. We're not done yet. He go ahead, this hose, this is the Vanos hose right here.
Thanos?
Yeah, Vanos, like Thanos.
Thanos?
All right, this hose goes all the way to the back of our oil filter housing gasket, and it goes right, there's a bolt. Matter of fact, you can look right through here and you can be able to see it.
The hose?
No, you gotta move over there.
I don't even see it myself.
Right through here.
Oh, nice.
Right where my finger is. You right.
Hold on 1 second, because it was blurry.
Still blurry, huh?
Yeah. Okay.
Right there. It's a banjo bolt. Then there is a washer / gasket on each side of that bolt. You want to make sure you do not lose those when you take this apart. So let me go get a socket and all, and be right back. All right, guys, the first thing we do, let's get us a pan because we about to lose some oil. So slide this pan up under the vehicle, about pretty much where we're gonna be working at. Okay, you're gonna get your 19mm or 3/4 inch socket, 3/8 drive with a 3/8 drive ratchet, and right back where that banjo bolt is. Can you see on that?
Mm-hmm.
So you can get a good grab on it. There it is. And break that bolt loose. And once you break it loose, it's going to come loose pretty much easy after that. But just remember those 2 washers on each side. Now the one on back here on this side it will stay on the bolt. But the one on the inside, you got to be very careful. There it is right there. So what I'm going to do is reach my hand down in here and try to grab that one off of there. Got it, so we don't lose that. And take the rest of our bolt out of there. So this is it. You got your banjo bolt.
Why is that called a banjo bolt?
Because it lets oil run through the sides also. But in order for oil, to stop oil from leaking out through either side, you're going to have the gasket over here and a gasket over there. So oil will stay where it's going at. All right, let's put this to the side. Next thing we're going to do, we got another connector right here. Push the tab in, push the clip in, unplug it, put that to the side. We are almost there. I am proud of you guys. Yeah, buddy. Let's get this done. All right, let's get our other tools and we'll be right back. All right, guys, we are ready to remove our housing. This thing is held in by 6 bolts. The bolts, a lot of them are different sizes, so you want to make sure you keep a track on where they are. And if you want, tell you what, guys, this is what we're going to do. I'll be right back. All right, guys, what I'm doing is wiping off the heads of these bolts. And the other one is down there. Get this thing out of the way, man. And what I'm going to do is take a marker. And what we're going to do is... Where am I? Okay. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. That kind of sucked.
What?
I can't get number 4 line in there.
Why?
All right, we'll put the...
The 4 is an I and a V.
Yeah, okay. And down here for number 6,
What about number 5?
what I'm gonna do is actually put a number 6, something like that. And number 5 is way down there. I can't even reach it, so I ain't worried about that. That one got nothing on it. So now what we're gonna do is take us a 2 foot long 3/8 drive extension with a 13mm swivel socket, and we're gonna go down there. Let's get to our hardest one first. Number 5. Let's take that out. And what we're going to do, we're going to take number 5 out and we're going to mark it just in case. All right? So let's get that out. We'll be right back. All right. Let's get our magnet down there. Okay. We got number 5 here. Let's clean this off. All right. And we're going to mark this. Dang it. Dang it. Number 5. Give me an... Yeah, because this is my favorite one. This is my go-to marker right here.
With the purple one.
All right, guys, I'm going to get another marker, and I'm going to mark this number 5, and I'll be right back. All right, I put a 5 there.
You sure that's a 5? That looks like an S.
It is an S for Civi.
Sylvia.
Yeah, Super Civi. All right, so let's put that to the side. And now, reach down and get number 6 and do the same thing. And we're going to do this to all the bolts. All right, so let's get that done and we'll be right back.
Do what to all the bolts?
get them all out. And then when we get them out, we're going to mark them up.
But when you did mark them.
Yeah, I'll mark them better when they...
Oh, okay. All right, we'll be right back.
All right, guys, we got our bolts out. In case you're doing this and you crossed on the bolts, remember how we did it. And here's our bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, let's go over here to our housing. And let's see, get our power steering reservoir out of the way. Let's see if we... There we go. Move that away. And watch our, look like I got a hose, a wire here. Want to make sure all this is out of our way. You know what? Let's get this tied up over here to the side. We don't need nothing getting in our way over here. Okay. Let's see if we can see this better. Here we go. Drop it down. And somehow bring this up. All right, let's put this over here to the side.
You're not going to party line?
No, we're gonna put that back on the bin. All right, guys, here it is. All that oil was leaking out over there. All that oil, there it is, coming right from that seal right now. Now what we're gonna do is get some carburetor cleaner as much as we can. Clean this up. Spray this down. And do the best we can. And also, pay attention, you're going to have guide pins right here. 1 and 2. That's to make sure that housing sets right up there perfectly. All right, so let's get some carburetor cleaner and clean this up. We'll be right back. All right, guys. You're going to be using a lot of carburetor cleaner over here. Clean this down. This looks like it's been leaking for a while too. All right, then what we're gonna do, we're gonna clean that up there also, and we're gonna get an air hose and blow all this out. Be right back. All right, guys, let's clean this up. Now, what we're gonna be using is a scouring pad. You didn't say that loud enough. All right, the reason why is because you do not want to use this block in this car is aluminum. You do not want to use no abrasive, something that will dig into it, or scrapers that will scar it up, or you're going to have a persistent oil leak.
Yeah,
So
Hector.
Yeah, Hector. So use a scouring pad, and that's all you have to do, because it's not a gasket in there. It was just a seal. That's like an O-ring. I mean, not an O-ring, a rubber gasket. So as you can see how nice and clean it's coming, just by cleaning it up like that. All right, so what we're gonna do is clean this up, and I got my air chuck right here, and we're gonna blow all that carburetor cleaner out of there. We'll be right back. All right, guys, got our housing over here. Gonna take us a little pick, and you see how I can't really get it there? That's how dry rotted that seal is. And if I can't get it out, I'm trying not to use something. That's what I get for using something from Harbor Freight, man. This is
Funny. Where's your big picks? Almost.
Look at that guy. Look at that thing break apart in there. Coming out of there. There we go.
That's plastic, not rubber.
There we go. Look how brittle that thing is. And look how flat. Look how flat it is. Alright, so now what we're going to do, here's our new gasket. First what we're going to do is go here and we're going to clean all this out with some carburetor cleaner. Oh, there this goes. All right. Take out air. You want to make sure that's nice and dry. Perfect. All right.
You don't have to scour this side.
No, here, you want to scour it? For Sylvia, we're going to scour this up here. You
Scour.
See, now I got to clean it all up again.
Oh.
So I'm going to clean this up, guys, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, let's get our gasket open. Now, be careful opening this gasket. Don't try to take your hand and try to rip it. You might damage the gasket in there. So take your screwdriver or something.
How is that safer than your hands?
It is. You saw how I did it. Take it out like that. Take my gloves off. I want to make sure I don't get no oil on it. I want to make sure it's nice and clean. Match your gasket up. Yeah, buddy. All right. Now, if you notice on the housing, there's a little parts that stick out right there. All around. Sylvia, what's that for?
To hold the seal in better.
There you go. Look at that. So that's all you do, guys.
Yes.
Push that in there. Make sure, guys, that thing is down in there. Do not use any kind of glue or anything, because you might end up not damaging the seal, but it's going to cause an imperfection and it might start leaking. So just make sure it's nice and dry. Push that seal down there, the gasket down there. All right, here we go. We got some little stuff
What's
in
the
there.
difference between a seal and a gasket?
A seal is like, you know, like a crankshaft seal. It's round, it's got metal to it, and there's rubber on the inside. You saw those seals, right? Like a harmonic crankshaft seal, the rear main seal, a rig round one.
Okay, yeah.
Gasket, it's like that. All right, we are looking good. Let's put some new fresh gloves on, and we're gonna go over there and put this on there. We'll be right back. All right, guys, let's go over here. Let's slowly lower this down into place. Carefully, because we definitely don't want to hit nothing and cause that seal to come out of there, the gasket to come out of there.
I screwed you up with that.
Yeah. And slowly put it up there. You want to line it up onto those studs, onto those pins. Perfect. Look at that. We got
The
that.
dowel pins?
The dowel pins. Yeah. We got that. Now, this bolt is number 1. So I'm going to go over here. Let's grab all our bolts. We got number 1. Number 3. That's number 4.
Number 2.
Number 2. Now number 4. Number 5 and 6. Now I know number 6 I can reach over here and get that in there. Number 5 sits inside there, which I'm going to have to use my socket to get in there. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is take my 2-foot extension with my 13mm swivel socket, and I'm going to first go down here and make sure number 5 is starting. Great, it is. Now tightening things up. What I'm going to do is start from the 2 center ones, number 3 and number 4. And what I'm going to do is bring them down till it just stops. And then I'm going to go up to 1 and 2 and down to 5 and 6. All right, let's get that done and we'll be right back. All right, guys, we brought them all in. The next thing we're going to do is tighten them up. We're going to start off at number 3. And what you want to do is with your ratchet, just go down till it stops and turn a little bit more. That's all you got to do. So we're going to go 3, 4. Then what we're gonna do is go do the top ones next, 1 and 2, and then down to 5 and 6. All right, let's get those tightened up, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, the next thing we're gonna do is put our banjo line, our Vanos line back on back there. And we got our banjo bolt. Remember, there's 2 washers / gaskets. So what we gotta do is let's take one of them off, but we only need one of them. Okay, we're gonna put one onto the banjo bolt. And we're gonna go down in there and get that on. You can see that, I don't know, hopefully you can see that down there. And what we're gonna have to do here is one hand is gonna have to hold the bolt in place, and the other hand I'm gonna have to reach down there and put this other gasket on the other side. And then I'm gonna start screwing that in to the housing by hand. I'm gonna grab it on by a couple threads. All right, so hold on, be right back. All right guys, I'm gonna reach down in here. All right, I got the bolt right here. And what I'm gonna try to do is reach down in there and get this other gasket on there. And believe me, it's not easy at all. So, but you gotta put that up there. All right, you can see I got it on there.
Mm-hmm. Figure out where you at. Okay.
All right, so I got the other one on, and now I'm going to slowly bring it to line up with the housing, and I need to screw this in by a couple threads by hand. You definitely don't want to do this with the ratchet, because you might cross thread it. All right, cool. I got this going in perfect. All right, now if you look over there, you can see I got it going in there. So now what I'm gonna do, it's hard to get this lighting in all up here so you guys can see this, you know. Now I'm gonna do is get my 19mm 3/8 drive socket with my 3/8 drive ratchet, and I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna tighten that up. So where's my ratchet at? Alright, let me switch the size. Alright, I'm gonna bring my ratchet over here, and as a matter of fact, what I'm gonna do, like before, I'm gonna take my power steering pump, the reservoir, and I'm gonna swing that back to the side, because now I can get in there better. I had tied this to the side to get that housing out of there, but now we don't need to do that. So let's get this over to the side. Yeah, get our light out the way, and that way now I can go through this angle right here and get that tightened up. There it is right there. All right, now when you tighten this up, guys, again, this is going into aluminum, so you got to be very careful. Only thing you want to do is bring it till it stops and tighten up just a little bit more. Those gaskets / washers, they're going to do the rest. Perfect. All right, that is done. Let's move on to the next step. We'll be right back. All right, guys, let's get our sensors plugged up. We got one way down here, and you can't mess this up. It's going to line up in... It only can line up in one way. Go until it snaps into place. Bam, that's one. The next one goes up here. As soon as you hear it snaps into place, that's done. Our last one right here, that's going to the back of the alternator. We're not going to be doing that yet. And here's our alternator wire. All right, we got that done. Next thing we're going to do is move our power steering pump reservoir to the side, because now we are about to lower in, bring up our power steering pump. So let's get this tied back to the side, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, we got our 3 bolts. All 3 bolts are different sizes. We're going to start off with our longest bolt. And we got to reach way down here, pick up the power steering pump, try to get it up onto this bracket. My arm's in your way, isn't it?
Oh, you can see a little bit.
Yeah.
And these hoses are on here.
Okay, how about that angle?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna.
Sure, that is the really the hoses are in the way more than you.
You know what? Switch that.
What can we do?
I'm gonna try something here. All right, you can see. Right there. Yeah. All right, so what I'm gonna do, guys, I'm gonna pick this power steering pump up, and a bolt's gonna line up right here. So you're not gonna be able to see it because of the angle I'm gonna be at, but that's what we're gonna do. Then we're gonna get this long bolt right in there. All right, so that'll switch back sides. All right, get it up there. Try to get that bolt. One. As soon as you get one in there, just like that. Then the rest of them are gonna be pretty easy. Now, if you want, you can go ahead and try to get this one a couple of threads, but I'm not gonna do that yet. I'm gonna get my smaller bolt, and that goes in on this side. And I might have to wiggle this just a little bit. Bam, got that in, just like that. Now what I'm gonna do now is start these by a couple threads, make sure they are going in there. Because I don't want to start with the ratchet and then cross thread them. All right, good, that's one. That's two. And we got our last one, our little one, that goes up under here to the bracket. Definitely want to make sure that one's in there. All right, now that we got those in, let's get our 13mm deep and tighten those up. Be right back. All right, got my 13mm deep with my big bill ratchet. Good. Let's get in there. One, two, and now for the bottom one, I'm going to have to use my regular 3/8 ratchet, and we're going to get in there and tighten that bottom one up. All right, so bring that all the way in by hand, so it makes it a lot easier. Make it a lot easier, make it be a pain, man. All right, guys, we'll be right back. All right, guys, we are looking good. Man, this is coming out good. Yeah, buddy. All right, the next thing we're gonna do, let's get our alternator down in there. All right, we got our alternator right here, and we're gonna lower this alternator down into that tight area. Okay, now what we're gonna do, guys, we're gonna make this a little bit easy for ourselves. Matter of fact, you know what? Take it back out. Take it back out, guys. You know, nope. We messed up. Take it back out. I'll tell you a little trick here. Bring this alternator over here. This alternator is going to be very difficult to put back down if we don't knock this sleeve back into place, because it fits down it, and as you tighten up this bolt, it's going to bring that sleeve out. So what we need to do is knock that sleeve back. And what you want to do here, and you want to make sure you want to make sure this is pretty much secure or anything, or you'll knock that ear right off of there. So let me get something, and I'm going to show you how we're going to do this. We'll be right back. Oh, ready? Okay. Okay, guys, here we go. We got here is a, what is this, 6-inch, 1/4-inch drive extension. You want to put the extension through here, put a 12mm 1/4-inch drive socket on the end of it, and what you want to do here is set this up on something right about there or so. Might not can. Patch me a piece of wood over there. Anything. No, the flat one.
You said anything.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna put a piece of wood right there so it can go up against there. Get us a hammer. We want to knock that down till it's flush with the housing. This thing ain't gonna be too easy, is it? Move a little bit, and that might be enough, but I want to be sure. One more time. There we go. Flush with it. That way I'm not going to have no problem of putting this in there. Let's go over there and show you what I mean. Okay. Now down here, our alternators are going to go over this part of the bracket right here. Is it pretty good or need some light?
Show me one more time because it is blurry on my
This bracket right here.
Okay, we got it.
So, got an alternator. When this part goes over there and you go put that bolt in there, without this being there, that alternator will wobble. So as you're tightening up this bolt, it brings this sleeve in up against that bracket and keeps the alternator sturdy. All right, so yeah, sturdy. So what we had to do was knock that pin back so we can easily get that on there. Now let's go back down there again. Bring our alternator down there. Turn it around and all that. Yeah. Perfect. All right, guys. Now what we're gonna do here? Let's do something different. No. Let's. Yeah. You know what? While we got it like this, we're gonna get that bottom bolt in there.
What about the hose?
You can get that one, the bolt.
Oh.
That's up there. Go to the front.
Okay, but now
You can't see it? I can't.
No, but
All right. So we're gonna have to do now is go down there and get this bottom bolt in, wherever it's at. So we can get that lined up in there, so we can, dang it, look at that mess. You know, nothing goes easy with these cars, man. But then again, I am Astro. Yeah, buddy. Got that bolt going in there. Look at that. All right. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn this bolt in to make sure it's going in by a couple threads. And what I'm going to do, what size is that bolt? What size is that bolt, Zippy?
13,
No.
16.
16 is good. 16 sounds good. So let's get us a 16 millimeter with my big bill ratchet. There it is. We're gonna reach down there and we'll make sure this bolt is going in there. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, that's right. We're not gonna tighten it up yet. What we're gonna do now is get our upper bolt. Now this is the one with the pulley on it. And remember this pulley, guys, you gotta make sure that that tab is lined up with it. So let's get this going in there. Bring our pulley all the way up here. And our pulley, if you notice, right up here. Can you see that? You wanna come over this side?
No, I see it.
Make sure it's lined up with it. Bring our bolt in. Okay, bring our alternator up. And there we go.
Everything's in my way.
Alright, now let's switch sides. Okay. Now let's get our big bill ratchet in there, 16 millimeter or 5/8. And we can tighten this up. All right, and we go down there and let's tighten up our other one. Now that we got this in the way, dang it, in there, it's gonna make it a little difficult to get to our bottom bolt. So now I'm gonna have to be using my deep with
Swivel?
no, I'm gonna use a swivel. I have to be using my regular ratchet. Get down in there. Man, boy, man, these designers.
I don't want to work on.
You know what? I'm gonna have to use my telescoping ratchet. There we go. This bites. This really bites. Hold it. It'd be nice if I was on the right bolt. There we go. Alright guys, let's get this tightened up and we'll be right back. Alright guys, now for a little difficult fun here. Time to get this belt on. You know, this thing does not give you a lot of room at all to get this belt on here. Huh. Got that pretty on pretty easy. Except for around this water pump right here. That sucks. Now I gotta push this belt back over here. And it's like, oh, I did it. I was gonna get a screwdriver or something. But didn't have to. Alright, all that's lined up. Now I gotta put it down onto the power steering, to the AC compressor. And it won't do it because you know, why can't they give you more room on these things?
Because then it will be tight.
Alright, let's get it back on this water pump. That's gonna be the main one. Getting it on this water pump over here. Okay, if I can keep it on the water pump and keep it on the tensioner, I'll be okay. And that thing just came right back off like a tart. Dang it.
Strawberry tart or apple tart.
Yeah, go ahead, keep being funny.
Peach tart. That's gotta be good.
Dang it, guys. You know, you gotta love this. You just gotta love this mess. Just gotta love it. Gotta love it. You know what? All right. That's the way we're gonna play it. That's the way we're gonna play it. Let me get the socket and all, and get it on that tensioner. Got an 8 millimeter, and we're gonna go tightening. Let's get into that socket down there. So let me get that in there, and I'll be right back, guys. All right, guys, I got my socket down in there. I got my belt going around my water pump and everything else except for the alternator. And this is going to be kind of difficult because I got to reach in my hand in here and bring this adjuster down. And at the same time, bring my belt up. This sucks. This really sucks. Wait a minute, did I get it? Did I just get that? All right, what I'm gonna do? Dang, that was luck. Let's go down here. I want to make sure that it's lined up on the compressor, alternator. This one don't matter. And let me go down here to the crank and the water pump, and they are all lined up. That is great. Get our tool out of there, and we're good to go. We'll be right back. All right, guys. The next thing we're gonna do, let's take off our two 13mm bolts over here. That's holding up our power steering reservoir. Alright, let's swing this over to the side. Let's get those bolts in there. Now, as you can see, the bolts are down in there, and it might have a chance of a possibility of dropping them. So I'm going to show you a little trick. What you want to do is take your 6-inch 3/8 drive extension, which are 13mm deep. Take a piece of paper towel or something. Break it off. Put it onto the bolt. Put it in, and that way it holds it into place while you're bringing it down there. Put it in there. Get that wire out of the way and be okay. Okay. That's one. And then we do the same thing for the second one. You want to make sure it's tight enough that it don't put down there and you drop it anyway. That wouldn't be good. Okay, now this one, I'm making a mistake because what I'm using is a deep socket, and this deep socket is getting in the way of the intake. So what I'm going to do is take this socket off, and I am going to use a 13mm shallow. Perfect. Get those two tightened up. Alright, now that we got that out of the way, now we do is take your hand, you got to reach, move this out of the way, get up under there, and you want to hook up that cooling tube to the alternator. So you're going to reach down there, grab the ductwork, because I know it's kind of difficult to see down there. You just want to bring it around and hook that back up. Can't see it, can you?
Well, we can see your hands.
But that's about it.
Yeah.
Alright guys, so let's get that hooked up and we'll be right back. Alright guys, you can see, there we go. Got the hose hooked back, and that's all you do is push it up and it'll lock right into place. That is done. That is perfect. Alright, the next thing we're going to do, move all this to the side. Here's our alternator connector right here. So let's get that over there. Put that into the clips, into place. Perfect. Now we gotta do is take off our 13mm nut on the back of the alternator. And get this hose out of the way so you can see that better. There we go. Take our 13mm nut off the back of here. Alright, get our cable to our battery. Hook it on. Put that back on place. And you want to screw it around as much as you can by hand. And let's get our ratchet and tighten that up. We'll be right back. Alright, got my 13mm shallow socket, 3/8 drive. I'm using my swivel ratchet so I can get more of a swing on it. And go in there. And guys, do not over tighten this nut. What you want to do, as soon as it stops, just a tad bit more. That is it. That is out of the way. That is done. Alright, now we're going to work our way up. Now get our third water pump right here. Let's get this lined up over here to where our clip's supposed to be. Let's take our 10mm nut out over here, the bolt. Put that into place. Now let's get our two clips that's going to hold this on into place. Be right back. Alright guys, you're not going to really be able to see. You want to see one of them. I'm going to show you how these goes right now. Now you can put the clip in partially, the pin. That's cool. Make it a lot easier for you. So just in the beginning. And what's going to happen here is, say if this is one of the holes down there, you want to push this into the hole, and then as you push this pin in, it's going to spread those open, and it's going to keep that into place. So let's do one right now. Go down here. Get that into place just like that. Oh, you didn't see all of that? And then take your hand or a screwdriver or something, and you just push that pin in. Done. Let's do the other side. You're not going to be able to see this side, but the other side is the same way. So let's get that done, and we'll be right back. Alright guys, we got that in. Next thing we're going to do, go ahead, tighten up our 10mm bolt right here. Get our hose right here. Let's snap this hose into place, and we are almost done. The next thing we do, down to the final step. Let's get our air cleaner and put that on. Have this clamp situated right about there so we can tighten that up. Alright, let's get that and we'll be right back. Alright, let's lower this down into there. Let's get our rag out of the way. Alright, the first thing we'll do is on this side, we're going to make sure that we get it into this housing. You got to make sure you get it into there. If you don't get it into there and you start this thing up, this thing will run raggedy like you would not believe. So you got to make sure that connector is in there. And once we get it in there, then we're going to go ahead and tighten it up with the screwdriver. See, I can feel that, right? I can feel right there. Right there. Now, it'd be nice if I had the screwdriver. Here we go. Okay, let's get our screwdriver. Tighten this up. I'm not gonna tighten it up all the way yet. I just want to be enough so it can snug that into place. Because what I need to do is get over here and set and make sure our bolts can line up with our air cleaner. Everything else is up in place. Let's get our 2 bolts. Got our 2 10mm bolts. Let's get these started. So now we got this lined up. Now I'm gonna go down here and finish tightening up this clamp. Be right back. And at the same time, we got our mass airflow sensor connected here. Let's connect it right into our clip. Connect that. That's another important thing. Make sure that is done. Alright, so I'm gonna go down here and tighten this up, and we'll be right back. Alright guys, we got that done. Next thing we're gonna do is go ahead, tighten these down. Perfect. Last but not least, the final piece.
Well, that's not the last thing.
Why ain't it? Why ain't it?
Because you have to hook up the negative battery key.
Oh yeah, dang it. Go right there to that battery. Alright, first of all, let's put this duct inside this part. Like that. And you're going to have the 4 clips right here. They're going to line up with these clips right here. Going to line them up. You're going to push it down like that. And that's all you do. The center part, just push that down. Locks into place. Alright, let's do the others. And we'll be right back. Alright guys, we're back here with the battery. Now we're going to take our negative terminal, bring it up, and just in case guys have the keys just in hand, just in case the alarm goes off, you can shut it off. But we're going to go up here. Cool. Put that on. Then we're going to tighten up the nut right there using my 10mm deep. Where's my ratchet at? Okay, we're good. I'll use this. Let's tighten this up. Make sure the terminal is nice and tight. Great. Let's bring our bracket back over. This, I don't know what we want to call this. Tire hold down. Yeah, I'll go with that. Let's go with a tire hold down. Put it up there. Get our 4 10mm bolts. Put them in. Tighten it up. Put our tire in. Close it up. And we'll be right back. Alright guys, we got everything done. Got a battery connected. Let's start this up and make sure everything is good. Alright guys, everything is good. We're gonna go over here, just look around. Make sure there's no leaks. Don't hear no vacuum leaks. Run it smooth. This came out to be a great job. And that's cool because it's starting to pour down rain out here. So we just finished in the nick of time.